I'm Midnight Researcher, here with the demon known as Miss Creepyth, calling to Elon and Nora. Are you with
Hey,
us?
what's up?
Yeah, we're here.
Good evening, everyone.
Good to meet you. I think you've cut in a couple times beforehand, but that wasn't really planned, so here we are now.
I'm an extremely impatient creature.
We can tell, but thank you. Thank you for sitting down metaphorically with us tonight. We get to sit down with two of arguably the most influential individuals on their own universe.
That is extremely high praise, and I deserve it.
Of course, Miss Creepyth joins me. Hopefully not in full demon mode, because we do not want to cause any accidental eradications.
Oh, I've lived long enough on this plane of existence to find a form that is suitable for this life.
We have a couple questions, if you wouldn't mind, just out of curiosity and, to entertain those who might be listening.
Certainly.
All right, perfectly fine.
So, I assume at least you're partially aware that a lot of people have been following your adventures for a while, and at the end of what we observed, at least what the majority observed, you said you were going to do absolutely nothing. How has that been for you? You first, Elon, and then Nara.
In all honesty, it was probably extremely frustrating during the beginning half. I've been up here for quite a while, doing nothing and just letting things happen is not entirely in my nature, and it's stressful. But I've learned that some things just kind of need to happen the way that they are, and if I keep messing with things, the outcome is not always going to be the way I want it. That's just the way that life is, and I've come to understand that a bit better. I still have moments where it's a lot harder to pull back than usual, but relatively it's actually been a lot more calming for me.
And how about you, Nara? I assume you're in much the same boat as Elon is right now.
It's not really entirely clear where I've kind of ended up. In all honesty, where I'm at is kind of a more serene, calm, quiet place. And I'm not used to it being so quiet. Even when we were at the cabin, there was usually noise around in the forest, or Gideon being extremely annoying, or, But it's different. It's definitely different. Not something I'm used to, but Gideon is here most of the time. I don't know where he's at now, but he's usually here, so it's not as quiet as it could be.
The only thing I wish to say is, Elon, you seem to be showing a lot of growth in your reflections upon what you've been doing.
I'll say that it probably took me a bit to get to that point. I think Malone was right, which pains me to say, but she was right on a lot of things, and it was time for me to make a change on a lot of the decisions I was making for myself and forcing on other people. And I made a mess. I did. I made a huge mess that wasn't easily cleaned up. And I can't take back a lot of what I did, even if I felt like I was in the right for a lot of it. But eventually we all hit that point where we start moving forward. And I'm still trying to move forward, but I think I'm doing an okay job at it. At least I haven't heard Malone complain about it in a couple of days, so I'll take the victory where it goes.
And
Fair enough.
I assume, so, yeah, you are in wherever the beyond space is that you exist in, and you're no longer in a cat or a bat's form. You're back in your sort of humanoid astral projected state. How does it feel to be humanoid again and not confined to an animal or a ghost, as was the case for two of you for quite some time?
I missed having hands. It's been a trip. I can actually do stuff now. But it does feel kind of weird. It's like, you know when you leave for like a vacation or something, and then you come back and the house is kind of dusty, but it feels familiar, but you haven't been there for a while? It's kind of like that. It's like, I know this is mine, but I haven't been this way in a long time, longer than I think I realize. And I mean, it's cool and everything to be back, but it's kind of almost like having to relearn my body again. Sometimes I still drop things because I'm used to not being able to pick things up. At least not with my hands. So it's been a learning experience.
For me, it's probably not been as big a transition as it has been for Nara. Mostly because I am used to it. That's not fair, Malone. You can't do that. You can now.
I'm allowed to speak.
Yes, you're allowed to speak, but I didn't realize you were going to start passing me notes.
Well, you said that you hadn't heard me complain in quite a while, so of course I'm going to complain.
They were saying that I had more growth in the way that I sounded. I guess, how did you put it? I'm not a spoiled brat, was it?
You're a spoiled little brat.
Well, it's still brat, and it's still unnecessary.
An unexpected
It's completely
visitor.
Necessary. You are so far up your own arse that I'm surprised that you even knew that you had completed your original goal in the first place.
I didn't invite you.
You didn't invite me, we live together.
I know, but I don't want you here now. Go away.
I'm just telling you, don't say that I don't complain, because then you're going to get to complain.
I don't like this. I don't like any of what you're saying.
You didn't like it before, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop now.
I like it even less now. Sorry.
It seems like we have had a unexpected visitor. Was that Malone?
Yes, she comes by sometimes.
Well, I didn't expect that, but that was at least good. It is good to know that she's still up and around wherever you guys are, and that kind of leads into my question. How's it been? You're kind of, at least from what we've heard and seen, you're kind of just up in space looking at things as they go by. Anything interesting you've seen in the sort of spectator view that you find yourself in? What have you seen
Actually, now that you mention it, I have seen a lot of stars going out. Malone says it's just different parts of reality that just haven't reached potential and fizzle out. And it happens quite often. More than I thought. And I've seen a lot of them in the past, I guess, a year. Time is kind of weird up here. In all honesty, I think I've stopped counting. But I've seen a lot of stars go out, and then new ones just show up. It kind of puts a lot of things in perspective to a lot of the stuff I was doing. I was one of those stars, and I went out. But it could have been a lot worse. And the fact that I didn't want to accept that, I think just caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. But it's been interesting sitting up here watching everything. People make their own decisions. Things just kind of happen, not only out of their control, but technically out of mine. I mean, I could fix it, but I'm not gonna, because I don't get paid for that. I don't get paid for anything. So I'm not going to do that. But it's still interesting. It's like your own little soap opera. That's what they call it, right?
I'm pretty sure it's a soap opera, yeah.
That? Well, yeah, that... I'm still a little bit taken aback that we had a surprise visit from Malone. So that brings up another question, I guess, to Nara, is... Nara, how do you feel about Malone? I mean, we didn't see much interaction between the two of you at all, from what we've seen, but now that you guys all live together, what's your impressions of Elon's former mentor?
Well, I didn't know too much about her. Elon doesn't really like to talk about things, from when she was younger. I kind of just started learning about more things just because Malone talks about it. But, she seems really nice. I don't really mind her. She's been teaching me a lot of things. And she gets along really well with, Gideon, although they don't really talk much. they kind of just have like a weird vibe that just doesn't clash sometimes. It's not bad. They just don't really talk. But Gideon seems to enjoy her company just fine. But yeah, no, she's really nice to me. She fights with Elon a lot, but in all honesty, Elon starts a lot of it. I do not. You do. You really do. But she's been great, honestly. I like being around her. She's really cool. She's fun. She takes me out every so often. There's not too much to do out here, not going to lie, but there are some places where I guess potential lies, as she puts it. I don't understand it, but she takes me there and it's always looking different. So I just assume we go to different places, unless she's lying to me. But I think it's different places.
It's simple, curiosity, I guess, is what fuels that. And I'm a little bit curious, and I don't know if you would quite get where this is coming from, but, just between the two of us, Elon, have you seen any sort of weird shapes out in space? Maybe a large rectangular black monolith somewhere?
Actually, now that you mention it, they have popped up recently. It was pretty quiet up here, but then randomly some of them would sprout up and then vanish just as fast as I saw them. And Malone keeps laughing at me anytime I say that I see them. Either she doesn't believe me or she won't tell me what they are.
Oh, between you and me, I don't think you want to know, even with all that you've gone through. They're pretty bad news. They tend to turn planets into stars.
That way the stars are going out.
Maybe.
I believe
That
I
is-
have heard something about this somewhere. Perhaps
That's
in a book?
annoying.
Miss Creepyth, do you have any other questions? I do have a couple, but I want to give everybody equal chance.
I do have one question for Nara.
Okay.
So, and I've always wondered this. I have noticed that you do sound a bit older. Is there a reason for this?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's because of me returning back to my body. According to Malone, my body aged, but my soul kind of didn't. I don't really get it. I told her it's like, wasn't it like in ice or something? I mean, mostly just wasn't it frozen or something like that? What's the concept? Isn't it like, it's not, was
Cryogenically.
that doesn't sound like a real word, Elon. Anyway, it's one of those things. And she said pretty much it's like putting the soul on pause, but the body not. So I guess it's just my soul caught up really fast, and now I guess I sound older. I hope I don't sound really bad, though. I mean, God, if I started sounding like Elon, it'd be really depressing.
What's wrong with the way that I sound?
You sound tired. You sound really tired.
I am tired. Tired of you.
Aw, but you love me.
So, I do have a sort of a interesting question. Have either of you experienced any carryovers of habits or just behaviors from when you were both a ghost and a cat, and maybe a jellyfish and a bat that you either can't do now in human form, or habits that you don't really need to do anymore but you can't quite get rid of?
I'm very used to floating, and I don't do it anymore, and I start to realize that I don't like walking. And I can't do anything about it. I think I've grown lazy.
It can get
Yeah.
rather cumbersome, yes.
Also, somehow I can't necessarily do the things that I could when I was a ghost. I can't, like, levitation's hard, and telekinesis is really weak. I can't do those things as strong as I used to, but they weren't really strong to begin with. Elon says that she can't really do fire anymore. And that was really, I think she felt really sad about that. There's a moment where she kind of just didn't talk to anybody when she realized she couldn't do it. She says she sometimes gets phantom wing pains. Like, she feels she still has her bat wings. So she overcompensates sometimes when she moves her arms because she just assumes that she has the wings and she's going to knock something over, I guess. But other than that, it's mostly just trying to get used to all of this now attached to me when I used to just be a head.
Elon, any other answers about that question? Because we want to hear your side of it as well.
In all honesty, I didn't have too much trouble. She is right, though. Every so often I would kind of forget about my arms and stuff like that and think that either a wing is attached or that I don't have fingers. Can't tell you how many times I've grabbed a cup and it falls and it's a sad day. But a lot of the time, the constant napping, I did that a lot. I am not as tired as Nara says, but I'm not as tired as I used to be, I think. I've actually gotten a lot more energetic. And it's kind of opposite. Now that she's gotten more lazy, I'm the more energetic one. It's probably why I'm asked to do so much.
Yes, and you're getting used to things like not having a tail or cat ears anymore, and maybe losing a better sense of hearing or smell. And
My sense of hearing probably has gone down. I'm pretty sure having the cat ears gave that sense of hearing a much more heightened level of sensitivity, and I do not have that anymore. My sense of smell has come back, though. I didn't really have it so much so in the cat body as I did in the bat body, but also my sight was really bad in the bat body.
Well, I think obviously Nara had a few choice comments about the size of your ears when you were a cat, but maybe I shouldn't be talking about that.
I swear, I didn't say anything.
Oh, really? Okay, what are these comments?
I said they were pretty. They fit you really nice.
She said that they could catch wind, being that
They
size.
could! They could!
I can't believe you. They were not that big.
I mean, yeah?
We will have this discussion later.
Oh, okay.
The two of you argue like true sisters.
It's more so that I just can't deal with her nonsense.
I didn't even say anything bad. You're just mean to me for no reason.
Here's a question, and well, actually, Miss Creepyth, it would be your turn again. I don't want to be unfair.
Oh, I have no other questions right now.
Oh, okay. This is maybe a little bit more of a serious question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but we have seen at times a certain rogue entity take over your bodies while you were in your various forms, and
It's not me, I swear.
can you describe how that might have felt and what sort of happened over those brief periods?
In all honesty, I don't really remember. It's kind of like, you know, when you suddenly are deep in thought, or just forget something as you're talking, and then just can't remember, or walk into a room and you don't know why you went in there. It's kind of like that. It's just being confused most of the time.
For me, it's like taking a sudden nap, but you wake up more tired. You don't feel like refreshed at all. It's like the opposite of a nap, but that's like the best way I could describe it.
Well, at least that individual or whatever it is not haunting you guys anymore, I assume.
No, I haven't taken sudden naps recently that I can
believe that
remember.
may be a strange side effect of a possession of some kind.
Oh, yeah, you've had a couple of those, Nara.
Hey, what?
Nothing.
You might have turned blue. Anyway.
Wait, wasn't I already blue? Wait,
A deeper
Elon,
sh-
what is he talking about?
Next question, please. This is gonna go on all night.
Yes. We do not want to particularly torture you like you were once bombarded with questions, so...
I suppose there is the obvious elephant in the room question. This question was asked a few times during the judgment portion,
Oh, no.
but how exactly did you and Elon meet, Nara?
This one's pretty easy. I got into a fight, honestly, with my mom. And she's so annoying. I just kind of went out and started walking around in the forest. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just do what I want. And if I get in trouble, whatever. And I ended up running into this campsite and nobody was there. So I just kind of hung out looking around. And then suddenly I heard this gruff voice. It was like so cool. It was like, what are you doing at my tent? And I turned around and she had a knife. And it took a lot to tell her to not do that. But it was still cool, though. I asked her tons of questions, and she couldn't get rid of me. And so she realized that we were friends forever. And that's why I followed her around all the time. And it was awesome, and we've been best friends ever since.
Through
Well, that is a wonderful story.
through consequences and beyond, you've been friends. It's really kind of special how you've managed to maintain this friendship, even though, you've had your own trials and tribulations.
Very true.
Because we were meant to be best friends. I mean, I'm a cool adventurer. I'm pretty neat. And I'm also adorable and funny and amazing. Like, she'd be so lucky. And then I just happened to, pop right down on her lap. So who's gonna regret it?
I solely regret this every day. Please send help. I am so tired.
I don't think we can send help where you are, unfortunately.
That's funny. That's funny, Mr. Researcher. I was about to mention the fact that I hadn't heard Elon utter a word of complaint until now.
So...
Give me a minute, I just have to reload.
So, Miss Creepyth, any other question you'd like to ask before I ask my next one? I think we're
No?
sort of wrapping up here, not quite, but
I believe my questions have all been answered.
so, anything, oh yeah, that's right. Were you in any other forms before you sort of found yourself in the cat form and the ghost form that maybe we might not have seen as much of, that you'd like to relay?
I honestly think I was, but I don't think that loop lasted as long for me to really remember.
I honestly don't remember any other one besides the one I was in.
What was it? Okay, yeah, that's a fair question. It's a fair answer to my question. This is not really a question, but more of a sort of a reassurance, I guess. Elon, you really did not look that bad as a bat. I don't know why Gideon was freaking out so much.
That's because he's annoying! And he likes to talk out of turn.
I mean, he was just, no, there's no saving that. He was just being rude.
Unfortunately, his mind could not stop his mouth.
Yeah, he has a big issue with that.
Well, he did say at some points he literally can't stop talking once he starts, so I can't imagine what it was like living with him for so long.
You feel like if somebody's aware of it, they'd probably work on it more.
Yeah, no, that's not how he works.
Well, he said he has one genetic disorder that he can't feel fear. He might have 2 or 3 with how he can't stop talking, and... Well, let's not insult the man too heavily. He did go through a lot himself as well.
Yeah, he's not that bad.
In all honesty, I tolerate him pretty easily. He's actually okay company sometimes.
I don't mind it
He
too
does
much.
earn his keep from what I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. He keeps the place clean.
So, I think I have maybe 2 or 3 more. From what we saw, we didn't see that much. But how was Party Country at the start of your little observed adventures? Because we barely got to see any of it, because Gideon didn't play it for very long before certain things happened.
Honestly, I thought it was okay.
I don't know, it kind of seemed like an overrated game to me. I mean, all you do is just press buttons.
I mean, it was fun, but then it was my turn, and then I realized I wasn't paying attention on how to actually play the game. And then it was Elon's turn, and she just completely didn't want to play.
It just was boring. There's, nothing intuitive, the mechanics are dumb, and everything's so slippery. It just, I don't know, it feels bad.
Maybe it's just because you're bad at the game.
No, the arcade is bad.
All right, whatever. But
No,
Gideon was pretty
no.
good at it.
I mean, you seem to be hyping up the game a lot to Gideon when you sort of took him to play Party Country, so now you're telling me that maybe that was a little bit of an act on your part?
I don't believe Gideon had a choice in the matter.
In all honesty, I liked the first one. I liked the early stages of it. But this just seemed weird.
I honestly think you just had a bad run, and that's why you have such a fit with it. But you did like it the first time that we played it.
Yeah, it was actually fun. And then, it wasn't, and I don't know why.
Like I'm saying, you were just really bad at it. Maybe if you actually learned how to play instead of just mashing the buttons.
Gideon can do it just fine. Why can't I?
'Cause he's better at it than you.
You will take that back.
I will not.
Now.
Let's not escalate things. We don't want another set of misadventures spawning from this little Q&A here. So, when you were in your sort of transition forms that you might not have been in for as long before, but that was certainly a very unique experience for the both of you. Nara, what was it like being similar to a jellyfish rather than a ghost?
To have streamers, that was pretty cool. But it kind of felt the same. Although moving was a little weird. You kind of gotta propel forward. When I was hovering as a ghost, you kind of just everything was in the center. And so you just kind of moved and swiveled. But with the streamers and everything, it kind of makes you top heavy in certain places. But I kind of liked it. In all honesty, I kind of preferred being a jellyfish than a ghost.
And how about you, Elon, your bat form? How was that compared to your cat form?
I honestly preferred the cat form. I felt like it was a lot more me. Easier to move in and have to worry about wings. Everybody's like, oh, it's so cool to fly. And no, it's annoying. It drags behind you, gets stuck in things. I hate it.
Another last couple questions. My first question with the last couple questions. Can you tell us who the frog was meant to symbolize?
Oh, her. We've really got to talk about her.
Come on, he asked the question.
Look, the frog, everybody asks about her. In all honesty, she was just there.
That's not true.
You seemed quite angry at the sight of seeing her.
Because she wasn't supposed to be there. Look, some people slip through the cracks. That's all I'm gonna say. But what I am gonna say is she wasn't supposed to be there. She really, really wasn't supposed to be there. I was just as surprised to see her as anybody else would be if they knew where she came from. She should actually be very, very not there. I don't know any way to... She just shouldn't have been there.
Elon says that they had a really bad run-in when they both were alive. She can't forgive her for a couple of things. But she won't tell me why.
Well, that's certainly interesting. I'm not going to pry too much, but just wanted to get some kind of feedback on that. And what do you think about... I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but there was an appearance by a character who had not been seen before until kind of the very last stage of where you were before with what led to where you are now. Something came out of what we call the key, and it disappeared through a portal. You have any thoughts on that?
It's supposed to lead to other people that are like us. Me, Malone, Nara, Gideon. People like us. People that are either in the same situation as us or in situations that are similar. Supposedly, when people lose their paths, things like this start opening up. Realities that me and Nara were in. Me, Gideon, and that pig. And supposedly it just spreads off wherever bad things start happening. It's like a virus. It just kind of spreads. But the thing is it's not really caused by anything. It's caused by the people involved. The best way to describe it.
In all honesty, it just feels like they've just gone off to go and find other people that they can kind of save. That's about as much as we know about it, really.
Well, since this is kind of a barrier-breaking sort of questionnaire we have here, do you have anything to say to those who might be in trouble in other similar situations, such as the one you were in?
It's not the end of the world if there's some things that are going to be out of your control. You don't have to have everything go the way that you want it to, or the way that you plan it. And if you start messing with other people's lives, you're just making more of a mess. People could think for themselves, and even if it's not the way you want them to, they have the right to live their life the way they want to. You also shouldn't push away anybody that really cares about you. More often than not, that could lead to some bad stuff too. And I guess just, I don't know.
Don't be a spaz.
That's not the word I was looking for, but okay. Yeah, don't do that.
Well, yes, I believe that's just about the end, but I have to tell you, this might be the last time you'll be able to speak to anybody beyond the barriers for quite some time. Do you have anything to say to myself, my co-hosts, or the people of the Earth past your beyond space?
Everybody has a story that they want to tell, and everybody's trying to tell it at the same time. It's okay if you feel like yours isn't being listened to immediately, because it's going to reach that chapter that eventually everybody's going to tune into. And somebody out there, people out there, are going to be interested, and those are the ones that matter the most. Don't go so crazy trying to get recognition for yourself when you don't have it from yourself. And it's okay to need help. And it's not the end of the world if you can't immediately admit it. You'll eventually will.
Just being nicer to other people and just accepting people for who they are is a big thing. And in all honesty, we had to learn the hard way that sometimes you don't always get the best hand. But you work with what you got. As long as you don't give up on what you're doing, you're going to turn out okay. We ended up okay, and we made a huge mess.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, we had help.
Oh yeah, lots of help. But, I mean, if we can end up in a better spot, then eventually you guys will too. So just keep working hard for it.
From all that we've seen from your story and even our little story over the past 2 days, life is everywhere, and some people direct their lives to be a more positive influence on everything, specific cases or just in general. I feel like, yes, your advice is, it's quite touching. I think that might just about do it for this little get-together that we've had. Miss Creepyth, you want to say anything before we take our leave and leave these amazing individuals to keep existing in their own unique way?
All I can really say is be safe.
Be safe, take care of yourselves, and who knows, you might hear from us or others quite soon. No way to tell, but just be prepared.